How y'all doing? It's Friday, September 2nd, 2022. Last time I came up, I told a reason for the mess that the immigration is and why that is. It's because New York City isn't getting the information on the migrants that they're supposed to be getting. Shared information, you know, feds and various charities are bringing migrants there. Sorry. But, you know, but none of them are bringing systematically providing or collecting information, which is BS on the collecting part. They've already collected information. They're just not sharing it with everybody up north. You know, you got people that are looking for work and all this stuff. They all need identities. They all needed their information about themselves to be given to them from Texas to wherever it is that they were being dropped off. It was DC and then New York, and now as of yesterday, September 1st, they've been dropped off in Chicago. And don't get me wrong, Chicago and DC and New York, they're collecting them. They're accepting the migrants and all this good stuff, and that's good. But again, there's a lot of complaints about non-sharing information. You know, they're not being told when the buses are being dropped off and where exactly in their cities are the buses going to. In accordance to the bus people, the bus drivers, they're ordered through the contract that was made with my Texas governor not to share any information, but just to pick them up and drop them off. And here's the thing. The reason why this is called Governor Greg Abbott human trafficker is because what he's doing, it doesn't really prove me wrong that he's a part of the human trafficking. He's banking off of banking off of big bucks, you know, off of people that are collecting these migrants and ergo getting paid what they're supposed to. Now what they're doing is cutting Greg Abbott, my Texas Governor Greg Abbott, a deal. And one of the reasons why I say this is because during the time that all the migrants were held in captivity, there were a small number of reports of people claiming, hey, they made it across the border. I'm supposed to be paid I'm supposed to take them and be paid, you know. And this was all while none of them were getting sponsored and nobody was getting people that were having a hard time trying to find loved ones and friends and family or whatever to come pick up the migrants who said, I'm here seeking asylum. I do have somebody that I can go to instead of taking up space in your facilities. When they did that, you know, then comes the background search and all this good stuff in the investigation. But while that was going on from as far back as 2020, while that was, well, technically even before that, as far back as 2016, 2015, when 100,000 El Salvadorans came here. But that's a different subject at the time. I'm talking about from the time of 2020 up till the time that Greg Abbott started busing people to DC, busing migrants to DC. Okay, during the time that they were held in captivity, there were traffickers approaching these volunteer facilities saying, hey, I'm still supposed to get paid. Why don't you fork over those migrants to me, or at least the numbers that I'm supposed to be receiving? And it turns out why he's saying that is that there were those that paid a lot of money just to get across the border. They were also supposed to be paying money to people here in the U.S. that were supposed to take them from wherever it is that they cross the border all the way to their final destination, whether it be Chicago, Maryland, New York, or even Florida, or Alabama, Louisiana, Georgia, and South Carolina. And the reason why those 4 states in a row is because that's where a lot of the farming communities are. There's corn and soybeans and stuff like that that's being grown over there on the East Coast. And a lot of migrant workers can come in handy in order for the agricultural companies to profit in that industry. You know, and one of the first places that Greg Abbott sent them to was those 4 states, those 4 farming states. But everybody else got distracted with them being bused, with 2 buses being bused over to DC. And Greg Abbott raising a fit saying, you know, Biden's not doing his damn job and all this other stuff. But it was only one news outlet that actually caught this. I think it was the New York Times. They were the ones that noticed several buses going to those 4 states, you know, dropping off migrants in those 4 states in the farming communities. And it makes sense. You know, the agricultural business is in the hundreds of billions of dollars a year. You know, that's some big money. And the agricultural companies get to profit off that with the bare minimum pay that they can get away with paying migrant workers, because you know no average citizen is going to go do it. Especially seeing as how farming is a half a year time spent. It's only there for about 4 to 6 months. You know, it involves planting, letting the plants grow, then pulling crops, and then, you know, distributing all the crops to the grocery stores. You know, it's only about half a year's time of that time. So they're paying migrants the smallest amount of payment, working them for, you know, I literally forgot how many days that is. I think it's half a year. It's a quarter a year to half a year. And half a year's time. So, you know, and then the rest of the time, the migrants have to spend however many days left until they can find more work, you know, and to make that dollar bill stretch while they're down here. Now, when Trump came into office and all the migrants got deported, well, they didn't get deported with their paychecks or what was owed to them. So that was big profits that the agricultural agricultural companies made, plus the invested money that was supposed to go to the workers, they kept. You know, that's big money, you know. So what you got there is people being bused there, and then people being bused to DC, then people being bused to New York, all done by Greg Abbott, and later on this Governor Duty, I don't know, whatever his damn name was, in Arizona. But Biden's the one that kickstarted this, and he got, no doubt, he got paid big time for those on the receiving end. You know, aside from the fact that there are people being bused and DC and New York and now Chicago, you know, there was a lot of migrants there that had a final destination to go to. And if you know if they paid to get across the border, you know that they're going to be paying to get to that destination wherever it is that they're getting picked up. In this case, wherever it is that they're getting dropped off. So in other words, we still have migrants that still need to get to Florida where those jobs are. More than likely housekeeping and hospitality. You know, we still have people that need to get up to Maryland, more than likely the docks and stuff right there close to Boston and all of them. We still have migrants that currently they're going to Chicago, more than likely warehouse and industry work also. But before that, they're being dropped off to New York and DC when they should have been sent directly to Chicago to begin with. And then to top it all off, what Greg Abbott is doing is, you know, everybody's like, oh, the shock, because they're having to wear wristbands with barcodes on them. Those barcodes get zapped when they load onto the bus, and then when they get to DC or whatever drop-off point that Governor Greg Abbott has them bus to, you know, they get zapped again, and then the wristbands get cut off and removed and all this stuff. And the migrants then go to the sanctuary, the holding facilities, where the cities are going to be taking care of them, and they've got no information on them. You know, they don't have forms, they don't have passports filled out, they don't have passport applications filled out, they don't have anything, they don't have any papers at all. You know, they had a wristband, but it got cut off and removed once they made it to the dump site, the dump off point, you know, which again goes right back to what I was saying earlier. All of these charities and the feds that are busing migrants over to these cities, they're not sharing systematically, they're not information, they're not sharing information that's supposed to be provided for them. And in their eyes, they're questioning, was there any data collected at all? And I'm saying, yes, there was. As sure as I have posted through many other posts before this one, how DPS, state troopers, National Guard, Texas National Guard is being used to apprehend asylum-seeking migrants and using them as data collectors, data clerks, gathering information before they can even set foot onto the holding facilities where they hopefully get some food, you know, and all this that's going on while human traffickers are passing by undetected, while human traffickers and smugglers are bringing in more migrants. They're smuggling them in, and the only ones that are catching them are the ones that are actually doing their job instead of being data collection employees under the orders of Greg Abbott. El Paso is the prime example of that. Just last week, 29 migrants in a stash house recovered and rescued. 3 months before that, 70 children recovered and rescued. They were smuggled from Juarez through El Paso, through Dallas and Colorado, all apprehended out of those locations, recovered, rescued, and sent to rehabilitation. 70 children. That's some serious law action there. That's some serious law enforcement action there. And that's what happens when you don't have law enforcement being data collectors at the border, processing data of the asylum seekers that turned themselves in. So for New York and DC and now Chicago to say, who are these people? And Greg Abbott saying, well, where's Biden? Okay, that's the BS that I'm talking about. Now, if he's not doing this out of prejudice and hatred and racial hate and nationalist whatever, if he's not doing it because he's a Nazi, he's doing it for the money. You know full well he's getting a cut for transporting asylum seekers to other locations, dumping them off, saying, "Ha, I'm showing Biden who's boss." You know, he's doing that. But you're a fool if you honestly think that he's not getting paid for this. Yeah, no, I know he's on salary. Yeah, like all politicians are. He's on salary. He's getting paid $100,000, $200,000 per year, like every politician is. I get that. I get that. But to think that he's using our tax-paying dollars just to bust some people and say, "Ha, you're safer now," and not get anything out of it, that's just plain gullibility, people. Abbott has the law enforcement gather information of every single migrant that got captured, okay, while human trafficking was taking place. Those migrants that were surrendered were treated under very horrible conditions and all this stuff, and I'll get to that later. They're being treated under horrible conditions and stuff by Texas Department of Public Safety, DPS, state troopers, even as far as the Texas National Guard, okay? Border Patrol and all them. You know, All that costs money. So how does a governor make up for that? Well, he pulls this kind of stunt claiming that he's teaching the president a lesson, but at the same time, he's doing what so many traffickers have been trying to do as soon as the migrants are captured and placed into holding facilities. Once they're placed in holding facilities, there's people coming up saying, hey, I still need to get paid. Well, they're not getting paid, but Greg Abbott is. As sure as he's dumping them over there and saying the president's not doing his job, I'm making you safer and stuff like that, migrants are being dropped off over in farmland communities. Migrants are being dropped off other places that right now the media or any reporter or any investigator is just not telling us where they're being dropped off. I don't know. Who were they? I don't know. Greg Abbott does know. His policy, his law enforcement does know. As sure as far as went is putting their information on wristbands with barcodes to be read. You know, why in the world would he be sharing information when he could be banking off of those that still need to get paid? They're going to DC to pick them up. They're going to New York to pick them up. They're now going to Chicago to pick up the migrants. Chicago being one of the biggest underground organizational city run out of the world, you know. They've got secrets like Shanghai, you know, the Shanghai underground trade. These guys, you know, are being dropped off there. So, you know, those that still need to be paid, you know, that's where they're heading. They're picking up migrants there. They're trying to yank them or kidnap them, abduct them, or if not, just persuade them. Because I know in Houston, there was a couple of kids that, oh no, here in San Antonio, there was 2 kids that snuck out to meet the people that they were supposed to meet with once they crossed the border. And that was because they were afraid for the lives of their families back home. And I can't remember which country, which Latin country they came from. That's not the point. The fact of the matter is that they were told that while they paid to cross the border, they were told to meet up with somebody. I don't know who the people's names are. That's been disclosed. That's been undisclosed. I'm sorry. And it's you know, still under investigation, all this other crap and blah 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 blah. But the kids snuck out because they needed to. They felt they needed to, because if not, their family back home, their parents and all them back home would be in trouble. So, you know, there's migrants that have already been bused somewhere that are said, hey, I'm supposed to be in Baltimore. I'm supposed to be in Florida. Hello, I'm supposed to be in Seattle. Excuse me. Sorry about that. You know that they're supposed to be over in these locations because there's somebody that's supposed to pick them up and complete the traffic, complete the human smuggling. That guy here in the States is supposed to get his pay. And now we're finding out that there's no way to determine that and who it is that's supposed to be completed with the trafficking into which destination and all this good stuff, because those that are now accepting them, those in DC and New York and in Chicago, they don't have any information on them. Abbott is not telling them who's this person, where is their destination. Abbott is not telling them that they were trafficked in and that they have to meet somebody or else somebody else back in the country is going to get in trouble. Which, you know, this is what goes on. This is how it happens. Biden's not participating in this. He's not participating in sharing information to make things easier to help recover and rescue the migrants that he bussed over to those destinations. Why? Why? Well, you could say because he's trying to teach Biden a lesson. That's one thing, sure. It's not believable. It's not believable. Because if he was trying to teach Biden a lesson, he would at least help out the other cities that are supposed to be accepting him, the other sanctuary cities, you know. But he's not doing that. He's leaving them all in chaos. Why? Well, you could say because he wants, well, technically that's just going back to throwing it into Biden's face. No, there's really not many other options to believe other than Governor Greg Abbott is a part of the human traffic ring. Governor Greg Abbott wants that chaos. He needs that chaos. In order for him to get migrants to other destinations, they pay out him in order to do that. Okay? Those that are receiving money on the other end or whatever, they're giving Greg Abbott a cut. They're giving Greg Abbott a share of the payout that's supposed to be done. Okay? That's supposed to be for completing the transport of migrants. And if they don't get complete, well, that's a lot of money that they didn't earn. Ergo, it's humans that they really don't need to make sure that they're getting to their proper location. They can just go as far as killing them. Which, as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly what happened with that tractor trailer full of 53 migrants that cooked in the trailer, despite the fact that there was an air conditioning unit attached to that trailer. The truck driver did not turn it on. He let them cook. He let them bake. He let them cook to death in the back of his tractor trailer because there was nobody to pick them up. There was nobody to pick them up. Ergo, there was no payout. And if there's no payout, there's no point in even keeping them alive. And I believe, now where does Greg Abbott fall into this place? Very simple. Remember, Greg Abbott is the one that had law enforcement stop being law enforcement and put into the border at the truck stop stations to check tire pressures. You know, telling truck drivers to pop the hood so they can make sure that every single one of those trucks had proper fluids. Okay? Checking the driver's license of those truck drivers. Not once checking the cargo. Not once checking anything underneath or in, taking a listen, not putting the dogs to the thing to smell something. Nothing like that. That's what Greg Abbott was responsible for doing. He was responsible for these people cooking in the back of a tractor trailer. Hell, there's surveillance of the truck driver himself smiling and sharing laughs with DPS and law enforcement at that truck stop. He's smiling away. He's sharing laughs with DPS. And they're saying, well, why isn't Biden doing his job? He's supposed to be in charge of the security. No, Biden has got all the facilities that's set up through Alejandro Mayorkas. Biden has got that going on. He's got people that are supposed to be doing the data processing that are not doing it because the law enforcement is doing it and not sharing that information. Biden was minding his own business while letting Texas mind theirs. And this is how our governor was conducting his business. By not sharing any information of those asylum seekers that were captured. And to top it all off, keeping law enforcement occupied with those same surrendered asylum seekers while human trafficking was going on behind their backs. This is what Greg Abbott was doing. This is where he falls into play. This is how so many of them keep getting by, keep getting past law enforcement. This is how so many are winding up. And then to top it all off, when nothing is being, when the people that are accepting them are not getting paid, what also goes on underneath everybody's noses, underneath the law enforcement noses, is the killings of those migrants that got past them at the borders. And I understand that that's a very big claim. You know, Here's the thing, though. Nothing of what I'm saying can be proven wrong. You know, you got as far as people wearing barcoded wristbands that says he's got information on every single one of those things. And then you've got all these videotapes of human smugglers jumping, throwing their people out of a car. This thing happened just yesterday, I think. Just yesterday, 4 migrants escaped captivity out of a hotel underneath the captures of 2 smugglers. Now, those 4 migrants escaped, and the 2 smugglers shot at them. One of them got ran over by a truck that the smugglers were driving them in. Okay, there was nobody to pick them up, I guess. So those 4 migrants who were barefoot and, you know, no shoes, no socks, no foot protection, and I guess that was to keep them from running or something, but they made a break for it anyway. This happened just over on the south side. They made a break for it anyway. 2 of them got shot. The other 2 got hit by a car. One of them in critical condition, not expected to live. You know, and all underneath everybody's noses, this is going on because Biden has law enforcement being data clerks and now loading them on buses instead of going out there busting people left and right. And that's the majority of Texas. The only exception is El Paso, where Beto O'Rourke has law enforcement doing their jobs, recovering and rescuing migrants, even children, smuggled children, you know, abducted children, trafficked children. You know, he's got law enforcement doing their jobs over in El Paso, while Greg Abbott has the rest of Texas doing what job Abbott wants them to do. And it's completely neglecting the traffickers, harassing and detaining asylum seekers, and going as far as putting other people, accusing other people of federal migrant crimes. And I know this sounds like a broken record, but I'm gonna remind you guys as to what I'm talking about. 250 miles inside the border. Okay, a woman was pulled over for a traffic light or speeding or something like that. The cop said, "I gotta search your vehicle." Found 1 loose leaf of marijuana in her glove box. 1. It weighed 0.07 grams of a gram. And it weighed 7.7 grams of an ounce. I'm sorry. You know, it didn't weigh anything. But that lady got arrested in the name of Operation Lone Star, a policy plan that's designed to keep us safe at the border. But again, 250 miles inside of the border. And she was declared a dope smuggling immigrant, dope smuggling illegal alien. And she was thrown a felony charge on her for that, despite the fact that she was only supposed to get a misdemeanor charge or fine for speeding. I think it was speeding. That's a misdemeanor charge. She was supposed to get a ticket. Instead, she got charged with felony charges. Again, drug trafficking, dope smuggling, whatever. Illegal immigrant. Now, for the record, she wasn't illegal. She was an American. She wasn't even Latina. She was a white woman. But there she was getting these charges pressed against her. Federal charges to top it all off. With at risk of doing 10 years time. 10 years! Again, for 1 loose leaf marijuana that weighed 0.07 grams. This is what goes on with Greg Abbott and his bullcrap. Okay? He's making criminals out of Americans, and he's benefiting. He's getting paid. So he's getting paid legally through this Operation Lone Star, and he's getting paid on the receiving end of a smuggling operation or a trafficking job or whatever. Those that receive the migrants on this side of the border are supposed to get paid. Now, it's easy to say, well, Greg Abbott is complicating that by taking them to different cities instead of letting smugglers take them out of Texas, take them from Texas. Yeah, you could say that. But seeing as how, again, he's not sharing the information of all the migrants that have a destination. He's making it chaotic. He's making a mess. Okay? He's making a mess, and he's making it very difficult for those who are supposed to accept them and put them into shelters, whether it be an actual shelter or like in New York, a total of 14 hotels for shelters. You know, and no hotel guy is going to turn that down. You know, the city's going to pay for you to shelter migrants. No, you know, that's great business for them and stuff. So it's not like they're trying to distort American policies and all this stuff. That's good capitalism all around. But the thing is that these migrants aren't coming over with the information that was collected from Texas. They're lost, and they're being misplaced intentionally. Ergo, whoever it is that's supposed to traffic somebody from the border town Texas, from border side Texas, to say Chicago or New York or DC or Florida or any of those 4 states with the farmland, Louisiana, Georgia, Alabama, and South Carolina. You know, the migrants are still going to be sent there, but they're going to be sent there from DC now instead of Texas. They're going to be sent there from New York now instead of Texas. They're going to be sent there from now Chicago instead of Texas, to Seattle and to Baltimore, or somewhere in Maryland, if not both, Baltimore and other parts of Maryland. The thing is, traffic is still being conducted. The business of that is still being conducted. And it's very obvious now that you see what's going on, the jumbled up mess that Abbott is doing, he's getting his fair share of that. He's getting a cut of trafficked people, in the business of trafficked people. He's using legal means to do his part, because you gotta be gullible as all hell to think that he's doing that for free or to teach Biden a lesson. No, he don't give a damn about Biden. You know, he's not doing that. If anything makes it easier to process and send migrants to their final destination without a problem, it would be by way of cooperating with the Biden administration. But he's not cooperating with the Biden administration. And it's not because he hates Democrats or any kind of crap like that. He'll do business with Satan. Why? Because it is business. And in this case, it may not be Satan, but it is devils. It is somebody of the evil side, you know, the dark side of the force, or whatever you want to look at it as. The fact of the matter is, he's making it easier for traffickers to traffic the people, the migrants, from DC, New York, and now Chicago to the areas that they're supposed to be. You know, and he's telling everybody down here in Texas, look, I'm making you safer now. And get this, here's the thing. He can do this because there's really nobody stopping him. There's nobody calling him out on it. There's nobody checking to see where those migrants that are being dropped off in their cities. There's nobody asking them, are you supposed to contact somebody now that you're here? You know? And there's nobody reading their body language going, no, I'm not supposed to contact anybody, which is a total lie. Or the people that are just, no, I'm not supposed to contact anybody. Can you spare a dime? You know, Can you spare some change? You know, anybody can read the body language of these people. Those that are lying, those that are hustles, those that are lying and hustling, those that are not lying but still want to hustle. You can read body language just fine to tell whether or not they're a part of the traffic circuit. You know, but a lot of them usually want to reach somebody that they're told to make contact with, because they honestly believe the threats that are made. Once you get over across that border, you make sure to make this contact, or else I'm taking it out on your family here. I'm taking it out on somebody that you might actually care about here in the home country. A lot of them are meeting with the people on this side of the traffickers on this side of the U.S. because they honestly believe that their family will be safe as long as they live up to their end of the deal. And now they're getting closer to the smugglers or whatever, because Greg Abbott, the Texas governor, is helping them out. He's sending them over to these cities up north and not giving the cities the information that they need to hold on and to facilitate, especially not to let law enforcement up north get involved in apprehending the person that's supposed to collect that human trafficker. Without the information, they don't know who to protect. They just know to give asylum to the migrants, and the migrants will soon be on their own or whatever. But most importantly, a lot of migrants are going to try to escape and flee because of that clause there that they accepted, because they don't want their family back in the States, back in their country, to be harmed while they're here in the States. And again, Greg Abbott wouldn't be doing any of this crap. He wouldn't be making such a mess if he wasn't getting a cut, if he wasn't getting a share of that profit. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Nobody does this kind of stuff without a reason. And his reasons are very clear. Greg Abbott's reasons are very clear right now. With all the crap that he's done, every single action tells something. And after a while, they all lead to a point. They all lead to the one main reason why those actions are being done. And it's not about pride. It's not about being a nationalist. It's not about being a Texan. It's not about being American. It's not about disrespecting or disapproving whoever the current leader is. It's got nothing to do with that. In this world, it's all about the money. Belief is the tool. He's doing all of this for the profit. He's doing his part of the business end of the smuggling ring. You know, he's getting those people out to those different cities so that way the trafficked people, the business between them and the traffickers can get completed. And he's doing it all for a share of the profit. Plain and simple. And then he's turning around making you believe you're safer. You're all safer now because of him. Because of the mess that he's creating. There's nothing genius about that. It's all part of the hustle. And again, it's alarming because we're talking about a Texas state governor. A U.S. state governor. A U.S. state governor is partaking human smuggling, and he's living up to his end of the bargain. He's living up to his end of the deal. Sorry about that. I don't know if that caught that, but there was a phone call that popped up. Yeah, I mean, he's just, traffickers, they need to get paid once the migrants get crossed over. And Biden is helping them do that by sending them up to Chicago without any information. There's no telling what destination they're supposed to be. There's no telling as to whether or not they're supposed to be up there in Chicago or not. But he's sending them up there saying, well, that's a sanctuary city. You know, except without giving the proper information and intel that the sanctuary city is supposed to be having. in order to protect and hold and facilitate, excuse me, sorry about that, and in order to hold in the facilities as well as protect them, put them under some kind of witness protection, because of the simple fact that traffickers on this side of the border still need to get paid. You know, what Alejandro Mayorkas was saying, there needs to be a collaboration between us and other countries. This is why. Because until we can guarantee them that our country cooperates with their country, whatever country that they come from, El Salvador, Nicaragua, wherever, you know, they can protect his or her family and their home country while they get processed as Americans here for citizenship here. Maybe even bring their families onto this side of the border where they'll be a whole lot more safer, you know. But it all starts with cooperation. It all starts with the information that and data that is collected at the border, which is just not going on with Greg Abbott. Why? Greg Abbott isn't participating. He wants that chaos. He needs that chaos. He needs that chaos up there in the north. He needs them to be struggling and all that. That buys them more time. That buys the traffickers on this side more time to actually apprehend, to coerce and convince the migrant to leave the holding facility, so that way they can get to their destination, whatever destination that they were supposed to do, and finally get paid. Traffickers still need to get paid once the migrants have crossed over. And that's why Greg Abbott is creating such a mess. Because he's getting paid also. He needs to get paid for busing these people. Despite the fact that, yeah, the busing part is off of our tax-paying dollars. Getting the migrants over to the other side of the U.S. is where he gets paid. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. He's getting paid, and he's making you believe you're safer. That's why no information is being shared. That's why all drop-offs are unexpected, untimed, unscheduled, and unplanned. Okay? That's why he's got the bus company under hush-hush. Shh. You don't tell them where you're going. You just go to that destination and you drop them off. Plain and simple. That's why he's got everything running the way it is. He's not teaching anybody a lesson. He's trying to get paid. Just like the human traffickers on this side of the border that need to get paid when they accept those migrants that cross. They're getting paid. That's what Greg Abbott is doing. That's why this is the titled Greg Abbott, the Human Trafficker. And so far, there is nothing proving me wrong. Nothing. Their actions speak for themselves, whether it be the illegal traders or the Texas politicians. Their actions alone speak for themselves. I'm not making any of this up. You can see for yourself. The wristbands on there. Everybody's shocked, thinking that, oh my God, it's a Nazi thing. It's like the gold star on the Jews. And it might be. It might be the modern day version of that. I get it. But what I see out of that is the information and data processing that is needed to be shared with all of the organizations all over the U.S. that's not being shared. You know, there's traffickers that need to get paid, and he's getting paid. He may not be taking care of them. He may not be one of the illegal traffickers that are in Chicago and New York and D.C. You know, but he doesn't have to be. He is legally busing them off of our tax-paying dollars, but only if he gets paid. He's getting paid to do that. You know, yeah, the busing comes off of our tax-paying dollars. The rest of the stuff, them making it to those cities, is all part of the drug smuggling deal. And if they're not getting it, who is? If they're not getting paid to be picking up migrants at the DC area and now Chicago area and stuff, you know, who is getting paid for that? Is it the bus people? Well, no, the bus people are under orders by Greg Abbott himself. So you know he's the one that's actually getting paid. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. The belief in this part is that you actually believe you're safer with them bust out. I'm not making any of this up. The clues speak for themselves. Their action speaks for themselves. And you can catch up all of the data on that. You catch up all the data on that. Every time that somebody says something about being overwhelmed by Greg Abbott's busing, there's little clues and hints that let you know why he's doing that. How he's doing that. Everybody's shocked that he's got the wristbands on the migrants. Why? Why? It's for the data processing. So you know he has the information that those people need in order to get the migrants processed up there, up north. So, and why isn't he doing it? Oh, to teach Biden a lesson? No, he's not. No, he's not. Biden's got Alejandro Mayorkas and the entire immigration department on his side. He technically, they're going to get processed and data processed anyway. They're not lost. They're not taught a lesson. They haven't gotten spanked. Come on, man. No. The sole reason why the information is not being sent to those sanctuary cities is because he needs it to be a mess. He needs it to be chaos. Because somebody on this side of the border still needs to get paid. And as sure as they will eventually take those migrants out of those holding facilities, out of those asylum facilities, and traffic them to where they need to be going to meet up with friends or family, or to meet up in a place where there's a job, if not just plain to have a price tag put on their asses and pimped in whatever city that they can take them to discreetly. You know, those traffickers are going to get paid some way or another, and they're making sure to pay Greg Abbott for sending them over there to those cities so they can grab them and they can put them out on the street. Plain and simple. Or maybe to friends and families, because it was done through an illegal trade. Nevertheless, as far as they're getting paid, they will take them to a friend or a family. You know, because to them it's just money, it's just business. As is selling them to a pimp that'll have them, you know, pimped out, that'll have them sexually sold. You know, and Greg Abbott, well, he's not the one that's pimping them, but he is getting paid for busing them. Greg Abbott is not the one that's getting them reunited with their families, but he is busing them to that site where the human trafficker that's expected to be paid on his end will take him to that family member. But why? Because that's what he was paid to do. And Greg Abbott is getting a cut out of that illegal trade. Greg Abbott is getting a cut out of that illegal traffic. Greg Abbott is getting cut out of that illegal forced prostitution. Greg Abbott is getting a cut out of that illegal work at bullshit pay on those farmlands. Greg Abbott is getting a cut out of trafficking people to those busing people to those traffickers that'll get them to Florida to those hospitality jobs. Greg Abbott is getting a cut for busing people to the human traffickers on the closing end of the deal that'll take them to forestry or maybe even a fishing industry over there in Seattle. Why else would they be over there? Why else would they be transported over there? You know, Greg Abbott is getting a cut, sending them to DC or New York or now even Chicago to the human traffickers on that end who need to get paid now that they're on this side of the border, to Baltimore, where or Maryland, you know, wherever the harbors are. And again, and that's if they're not being sent out there to be prostituted, you know. That is if they're not sent out there to be sold, to be pimped. You know, Greg Abbott is busing them to that too. He's a part of the human smuggling trafficking. he's doing it legally, as far as we could tell, with this busing bullcrap. And he's making all of you believe that you are safer now. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Remember that. Never forget that. What else? What else? Yeah. It's all about the money. Belief is the tool. Greg Abbott is a part of the smuggling, whether you can accept that or not. This is what he's doing. And even though technically there's nothing proving me wrong, there's nothing really proving me right, because I don't have any proof of any money exchanges. Okay? I don't have the proof of any money exchanges. But with all of the actions that he's committed and all of the results of it, you know, there's really nothing proving me anything wrong. So that's the long and the short of it. I really would like to elaborate into a lot of other stuff, but I'm running out of time. That's the thing that I'm putting out. The next clue that I find, I'm actually going to be throwing out there again. And try to understand, I don't have a hard-on for bashing Abbott or any kind of crap like that. It's just that this is what's going on here in Texas. Okay? This is what's going on here in Texas. And that's the sole reason why I'm doing this podcast. Because everybody else is covering stuff that's going on their neck of the woods. Over in Cali, over in New York, you know, various places. And I encourage everybody out of all places to do a podcast, whatever neck of the woods that you're in. And voice your concerns and let everybody out there know what's going on over there. Pretty much like the way I'm sharing the information here with you on what's going on here in my state of Texas. You're being told there's an invasion. There's no invasion. You know, one of the counties along the border is Kinney County. They have only 8 deputies. If there's an invasion, how come those 8 deputies aren't dead? You know, what are they, all Rambos? I seriously doubt it, because otherwise the commissioner, the judges, and the mayor of whatever city the Kinney County is, you know, they'd be you know, there'd be some kind of footage, you know, of a bunch of Mexicans or migrants getting killed, you know. You know, there's no destroyed crops, there's no slaughtered cattle, there's no, you know, there's no burnt barns, there's no family houses being destroyed, there's no murdered fathers and sons, and there's no murdered trespass to death mothers and daughters. You know, there's no baby killings, there's no dog shot, no skinned cat, no parakeets heads bitten off Aussie styled, you know. Nothing. There's nothing like that. You know, and that's what I'm pointing out on the podcast here on this side of the world, on this side of the United States. And then I'm encouraging, again, I want everybody out there to understand, I want to see your podcast. You know, I want to know what's going on your neck of the woods, you on the other side of the screen. I want to know what's going on over on your backyard. You know, and I hope that I want to learn off of what you got and what you don't got and what's going on and all this stuff. I want to learn, just like the way I want you to learn what's going on over here in Central Texas, you know. And that's the sole reason for this. I want everybody out there to get a podcast, voice your concerns, let your voice be heard, just the same way as I'm doing with mine. And it sounds absurd, but technically it's common sense thinking. You know, when you've got all this evidence that points to trafficker, or at least his part in the trafficking, you know, I'm going to voice it. I'm going to show my concern for it. I'm going to express my concern. And I want everybody out there to express your concerns on any kind of dirty thing that you see going on, you know. And if this is still too much to handle and you need me to talk about something cool that's going on over here in San Antonio or in Texas, I mean, by all means, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just going to voice. There is technically a lot of good things that's going on. You know, we've got a lot of charity organizations. We got some festivities that are coming back to view. San Antonio used to have a festival of some sort out of every month of the year. And if it wasn't a cultural one, it was a food cook-off of some sort. And not just a chili cook-off or a barbecue cook-off. I mean, we had Tamale Fest. We had Taco Fest. We had Margarita Pour-Offs. We got Beer Fest coming this late September, October. We got Beer Fest, which means we got Renaissance Fairs and Viking Fest on its way. You know, one of my favorites down here in San Antonio is called Big Red and Barbacoa Fest, which is Big Red, a soda pop that looks and tastes kind of like liquid bubblegum. And it's very bubbly, a very delightful drink. It's very bubbly and it tastes kind of like bubblegum. It's a soda pop though. And it's called Big Red. And we combine it here, most of us Latinos, but a lot of San Antonians, regardless of whatever nationality, we combine it on a Sunday treat called barbacoa, which is the meat of the head of a cow. It's cut off and it's shredded, and it's a little bit high in cholesterol, but so it gets the heart rate going. But we get it on a taco and we pour some salt and we put a little bit of pico de gallo, which is you know, topping, and maybe a slice of aguacate, which is avocado. I'm sorry, a slice of avocado. We'll squeeze a little lime or lemon, but I usually use lime. And then, you know, you take a bite and it's just this delicious, mouth-watering, juicy taco that you bite into. And it's best with a corn tortilla, despite the fact that maize is kind of an acquired taste for a lot of people. I understand that. But the combination just goes so great with it. You bite into that, you drink a bubbly Big Red, you feel your heart rate going, and it just kicks in these endorphins. It's one of the reasons why many Mexicans, we just laugh out loud. You know, we're all just kind of loud people, particularly when we're happy. But yeah, that's one of my favorite festivities that we've got here in San Antonio alone. You know, there's a lot of great stuff that goes on. So I'm not just trying to use this to speak and spit and look down at stuff, you know, but it is a concern. Okay, and that's, you know, that's where I'm voicing my opinion on this concern. Everything right now is pointing to Greg Abbott being a human trafficker or part of the human trafficking ring. You know, everything right now. And that's my Texas governor. That's my governor. You know, that's my state governor. It's a concern. So that's the long story. I want y'all to voice your concerns as well. I want to hear you, what you got to say. I'm looking through a lot of y'all's, and I like where you're going with it. I mean, some of you are sticking to hobbies. Some of you are sticking to news, but you're like jumping all over the place. I get it. There's a lot of stuff that's going around. And I like it, you know, and I hope to keep watching some of you, and I hope to keep seeing all of you out there, you know, because I like it. I like looking at what y'all have to say. So that's it. That's it. I'm now going to stop and I'm going to take off. I'm going to close this hour at the hour. So y'all take care. Y'all keep taking care of yourselves. This is Chris with Chris's Comments, signing out.